In this video we're going to look at Halo Flashpoint, the Spartan edition, and what's in it.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Halo Flashpoint was announced late on last year and was given a bit more information in March of this year. I'm fairly sure, although there's not really much to corroborate this unfortunately, so take it with a pinch of salt. Halo Flashpoint was, I'm fairly sure, announced to be released in September, but it was scaled back. Now, like I say, I've got nothing to verify that or prove it, so don't take that as read, but I'm fairly sure it was. But anyway, it was then pushed back and it was announced that the actual release date was in November the 16th for America and November the 30th for pretty much everywhere else. Although I might have got that wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 30th for everyone else. Although people have been starting to get their copies early. So, for example, me. I got the Spartan edition, which is the bigger box, and you get more stuff in it. But like a bit of a context from what's been said and what I gather, the talks and the plans and the dreams and everything else have been going off for nigh on 5 years, as it were, which it's quite something for plans to take that long. And yeah, it seems to have come out quite well. The game has been designed by Ian Davis, which is one of the Rule Committee of Dead Zone, which this game runs on. The Dead Zone engine, as it were. So the game mechanics, if you play Dead Zone, is very similar. There are some variations and some actual new rules and whatnot, which could actually make its way into Dead Zone depending on what happens in the future. So this is the box, and it is a fairly big box. As we take a look at the side, you can see artwork of one of the Spartans. You can also see what models we get in the box, and also some pictures of what they're like on the battlefield, all painted up all nice and that. And you also have a scene of what's in the box, and also the blurb. Halo Flashpoint is the tactical miniatures game for 2 players. Your journey begins in the Wargames combat arena, bringing a range of classic Halo weapons and game modes to life on your tabletop. Gameplay is fast and intuitive to learn, and there are many tactics to discover that reward cool thinking under fire. Choose whether to fight as a Spartan fire team or a lance of banished elites, and prepare for the ultimate tactical tabletop experience. Ultimate, eh? This is quite a statement, and something that, as my last game was through, could become quite true. But we'll have to see again in another video, and if this is actually true for most people who play this. Included in the Spartan edition, 16 Spartan models, 4 banished elites, rulebook, playmat, pre-coloured card terrain and tokens, deluxe 2-sided playboard, 20 weapon cards, extra terrain and tokens, 20 player/model cards, 3 reference cards, 12 8-sided dice, 8 commander dice, plastic 3D arena accessories. As we go through this, you'll find out that some of this is just in the Spartan edition, such as the plastic arena accessories. Some of the extra terrain buildings are included just in this edition, and pretty much half the Spartans and all of the elites are just in this big box. This uses the Dead Zone rules engine, which I've played many times and is a fairly good one. It is 2 players, but depending on how you work it, you could have more, having say 2 on each side, or ages 14 and over, which I think you could do it for people maybe 12 years and over. 20 minutes to an hour 30, probably quite right, depending on the style of game and how many points you want to play for. As we come on to the rulebook, you'll see that it's rather larger than you expect. It's not A4, which usually you get rulebooks in A4, but sometimes you get them in this format, and this is more of a board game format of rules, and really I don't understand it. Like I say, rule books are usually A4 size. Sometimes they're slightly bigger, slightly smaller, and that's kind of the format people have gone for. This one seems a little bit odd. Yes, it could have taken more pages to actually make it like A4 size and like, but for this game, which it's not really a board game as such, it's more of a proper model game where you bring your models together like Dead Zone and other such games, and you just have a game. It's not really in the board game format, and I have seen some videos that don't really think this is a good idea for rulebook sizes, but you know, I don't mind it personally, but I can see why people are annoyed about it. Rules itself are fairly well laid out, and this is possibly because I've played many of these games. I didn't really find much issue with them. You find out what the special items are, the scenarios, and what the keywords are. But I've seen people that have had problems finding bits. There are certain things such as keywords that feel similar even though they kind of work somewhat differently. For example, frag and implosion have similar ways of working, basically from a grenade and the like, but their actual effect is a bit different. Frag blows people all over the place, and implosion explodes but doesn't blow anyone anyway, because implosion rather than explosion. There's things like that that might confuse people, and if you are a seasoned wargamer such as I have been playing for quite a long time now, you kind of understand it some way. But for people who haven't been playing war games for very long, or new into it, you can kind of understand why they will be a bit nervous. Although, because you've only got 4 models aside, you don't really need to understand everything, all the keywords and such like. You just need to look on your thing, and that's it. Although there is one thing with the rule book that should really be there on the back, is an explanation of more things such as how a turn works, what you do for setup, and so on and so forth. Just a little glossary of the like, and there isn't one. And I do feel that's one of Matic's detriments, not on the back of the rulebook. There isn't a thing where it just shows you a glossary thing, which I do think there really should be in every rulebook, in every game that is made. Next we move on to something that is quite interesting actually. It's something to build the terrain with. And it shows you step by step where it's needed and where stuff goes, which is quite nice actually. It also says you don't need glue, which it means you can take stuff apart and put it back together when necessary. I like how it shows where stuff gets slotted together and the like, and it's generally really good for this. That's all the stuff you get in the Recon set, and the Spartan edition also comes with more of the same and this big tower, which is the only thing I reckon you'll need in order to keep the instructions for, and that's what you get in the Recon edition. I'm quite impressed with the instructions on how to build the terrain. Generally, for me personally, it's not all needed, but I like it for people that it can be needed for who might be struggling a bit. I did need it for the tower. It did confuse me a little bit, but with the instructions it did actually help. So for me who says, oh, I don't really need them, I kind of did. So mission accomplished. Next is the board. This is the board that comes with both the Recon and Spartan edition, and it folds out. As you can see, you get some floor detailing, and the quality of the print is really nice. It's got this sort of like rugged plains feel about it, which is very Halo, I've got to say. The detail of the floor panelling and where you could potentially put buildings is also really, really well done. And on looking back on this footage, the squares are actually shown really well, which, looking on a lot of photos and some videos, they don't come up that well, but in person they are fantastic and easily viewable. And the paper stock, because this is paper, is quite durable. Haven't got any of the Dead Zone paper mats that Mantic make that come with the 2-player starter sets, so I can't comment how good they are. But looking at the Halo one, the quality and the durability is fairly good. It is paper, so you know your mileage may vary, but it is thick. It's not the thin stuff you get in some games perchance. It is fairly decent, and honestly, if you could just want to stick with that, I think it'd keep you going for quite a few games before you'd even consider wanting to swap it for something else, one of the neoprene mats or something else entirely. Honestly, I think Mantic should keep doing this going forward, because the quality of the mat is pretty decent. And yes, there are fold lines, but once you put terrain on, them fold lines are just gone. On the other side, you get a smaller board, which is more for demos or beginners. It's a 5 square by 5 square rather than 8 square by 8 square, which means it's a smaller grid overall. But it's meant for beginners, and you only get 2 models a side rather than 4. And on the blue team, you get the Spartan Mark 7. It shows you there. And also the Spartan Deadeye for the blue team. For the red team, you get the Spartan Brawler and the Spartan Sylvester. Very nicely done there. You also get the actions, which is on both sides, and also the scenario setup guide, which again, very helpful. You also get what energy shields do, how they work, as well as the various actions, as well as keywords, which are different for both sides because weapons and abilities are a bit different depending on the models you're using. You also get how headshots work, which is very helpful. One thing to note on this board is that Mantic, again, do this for Dead Zone. It's got the 8x8 grid on one side and then this sort of thing on the other side. Personally though, I think this works better than the Dead Zone one, because for a lack of the better term, the Dead Zone ones are boring. You don't get as many models. I think it's like 3 models a side, whereas in the game you can build, I think it's about 11, 12, 13-ish models a side. And to be honest, when I demo games, I just bring a 100 to 150 point team, make it simple as possible, and there you go. Just plonk stuff around, plonk terrain around, and just let people get on with it. It's easy enough, and as long as you are calm, considerate and understanding on how things work, there you go. I could be looking at it wrong, and it could be good for Dead Zone beginners, but in my experience, it's not really. This is different though. In Halo, you're not changing equipment or weapons or whatnot. These models are loaded out with what they've got, and that's it. Which makes it easier because this is what you've got. It just makes it clearer as well. And really, if you wanted people to get into Dead Zone and similar games, this is really a good game to get people into. Next in the Spartan edition is this high quality and thick stock cardboard board. On this side you get the same as the paper one, and the quality is pretty much the same. I couldn't notice any difference. Maybe some people will, but to be honest, just looks the same. Still looks really nice, but it's double-sided. So we turn it over and we can see it's more industrialised. It could be the inside of a ship, inside of a complex and the like. And this one is really good as well. You can see the UNSC logo there, and really there's a lot more going off there. UNSC across there. It's just a nice board in general. This is a board that Mantic should release normally. From what I gather, there are no plans currently at time of this video's release. Mantic releasing this board. They've got the neoprene mats up for pre-order and the like, but to be honest, I think this would work really well. Not just for Halo. If you just release it normally, Dead Zone players would love to buy this. Hell, I think it could really work for RPGs as well. Just have this board put down, put different buildings on that you want and whatnot, and you could have a little fight scenario going off that would be really, really good. The only things that are somewhat wrong with it, in my opinion, is that the blue side, the squares aren't as clear, but when you see it in person, it's not that bad. If your eyesight's a bit hard, then you might have problems, but in general speaking, it's not that bad. There is another thing where, as you might have seen, the plain side does overlap onto the other side a tiny bit. You don't notice unless you're looking close enough, but really when you're playing, it's not really noticeable at all. But all things considered, it is really nice, and Mantic, you gotta start making one. Next things you get inside these boxes are these nice flags. You get 2 of them, and these for the capture the flag scenario. These are very well detailed and really need painting red and blue. You get skulls on the top of them just because, and the detail's really nice overall, and it's, yeah. There's also a lot of different tokens in this game, some of which are necessary for different game varieties. Some people might be annoyed that there's so many tokens, but you won't need them all the time, so just don't worry about it. These include weapon drop tokens going from 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8. These all have the same green box on one side and then the numbers on the other side. These are so weapons get placed down, and personally it's very clever. You don't know where weapons are going to get dropped, and you might be near one, or your opponent might be near one, or neither of you will be. So it could be a race to get the energy sword or gravity hammer. You also get these tokens which give victory point markers, and they're randomised for certain scenarios, which is really a good idea. You also get these, I think they are power cores, that are used for a different scenario, which again gives it a bit of variety. You also get 2 markers, one with a blue flag and a core on the other side. I'll just show it over there, which are used for the same scenario as the small cores. You also get this one with the same design, and also a red flag, because in the Recon edition they don't contain the models. And you also get a oddball token, because of course it wouldn't be Halo without oddball. Next we have the tokens for damage. They range from 1 to 3, because in most cases models only have 4 health. So once they've taken 4 damage, they are dead, but they can respawn. Next we have the shields, which most models have a couple of shields, so you place them next to the stat card to show what the shield does. You then flip it over to the other side, which is red, when the shield has been depleted. Next we have these activation markers, which you just put them down when the model's been activated. Next we have marker for pins, which you don't get in Dead Zone, and honestly, you should. These just to show a model's been pinned, and on the other side you get to the crouch marker, which is an action and gives you an extra dice for shooting and an extra dice for the survive test, which is quite nice. Next we have the respawn markers, which you get 3 red ones and 3 blue ones. These are to mark where your team respawns when they are killed, and pretty much in every game you get these, although if you want to do a beginner game you don't have to use these. It's nice that you do. You then get item tokens, which, like Dead Zone, you put down at the beginning of each turn, and they've got the random side on one and then what they do on the other, such as frag grenades, energy shields, grappling hooks and whatever that is. Like Dead Zone, you put 8 down and then you put 1 down every turn. You also get tokens for the different weapons that drop down at the start of the game and during each turn. You get ones such as the fuel rod gun, the missile launcher, the gravity hammer and the sniper rifle. There's many different others in between. You also get the energy sword. Just gives you more options. On the other side, they're random. I do think for the weapons you can need a bag to put them in. The reason being is that you draw them out each turn. They don't need to be face down on the board, but if you haven't got anything, that's all you've got. But if they're out of the bag, you can draw them out. That's what you've got. And put it down. Easy enough. You then go into the tokens that just come with the Spartan edition, such as 8 of these. I don't know if they spawn points or for capture the flag or for some other objective. They look quite nice though. I'll give them that much. You get 4 of these things, which I don't know if they're for capture the flag or something else, but they kind of look like it. Whatever they're for, they look quite nice, and you could use them for objective games very easily. I don't think they spawn points because there's not enough of them to go around. The next thing is something that's very snazzy. These little container crate things, they look like some sort of weapon crates or something. No idea what they're for again, but I have my theories. One of which is to put those weapon tokens that we've been on about earlier and put them in like that. It makes them look like they're standing up there, like in a game of Halo. And so you just pop them out. They don't fit long way rounds, but short way round they do, and it's nice. Don't know if it's for that, but kind of looks like it. You then get the oddball. Now this item is very small and is only used for the oddball scenario. But look at it compared to my thumbnail. It's tiny. You could swallow that thing, it's so small. I would recommend putting it on a base because, let's be honest, there's times where you're going to knock things onto the floor and they get lost. And this is one of them times. It is absolutely tiny. You also get all this terrain, which you do have to put together, and is of high quality, thick cardstock. It's double-sided, so like this tower, you could have it blue, or yellow, grey and white. Some of the ones, such as this tower, looks like it's got lights on, which is a nice touch, and I highly approve. Don't know why that matters, but there we go. You also get a lot of this smaller stuff, such as these little walls, which do block an entire model, no less. And you get plenty of them. They just come apart like that and just slot together like that. No glue needed. You also get ones in yellow, just like that, with the logo on it. And you also get one in blue that look like that. The Spartan one comes with 2 of each. You also come with this thing which slots together like that, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. Answers below if you could please. You also get 3 of these crates, which they look nice, and they could be blue if you want, or they could be yellow and grey, because why not? In fact, there's quite a bit overall, and you get place to put the small stuff in that bit, and you also get stuff which you have to take it apart, just put it together, put the big stuff in the big section. Don't know if it's all for that, but looks like it. You also get a section to put all your tokens. These are just two of the examples of the larger buildings, such as this crate or container of some description, which is really nicely done. Goes really well. There's no split in between, so you don't really know, if you've not played Dead Zone and like before, where one cube is, but once you put it down you'll understand better. And this is the one that just comes with the Spartan edition. This nice tower with some doors, UNC thing, UNC logo, and some more writing on there. And then on the bottom you've got an idea of how it looks on the other side, which it's really nicely done. Like I said, this one I needed a bit of instruction on because I didn't understand how it worked, but once you've understood it, it's not too bad. And with the Spartan one you get two crates, one small little cube building, this thing, and a load of other smaller buildings. And you also get, I should really put this together because I didn't actually show this off. What? Bit of a shame. So in both versions you get one of these things, which is rather nice. You just slot it together like so, which you might not think is much, but you just put it on top of there and you get instant cover. Or you could put it like that. How the tables have turned. Haha. The terrain is a really good idea. When I first saw it I thought, I'm never going to use that, I've got Dead Zone terrain, but actually getting it in person and using it, it's not a bad set at all. I mean, even if you just have the recon set with a bit less, still not bad for a game. But having the extra height and having extra stuff with the Spartan one just adds so much more. I possibly would recommend getting an extra set of this terrain, which you can pre-order as it goes. It's just really nice. Just slot it together, put it together, job done, and just take it apart when you need. And as it's cardboard, just be a little bit careful and you'll be fine. You get 12 dice, which 8-sided, 6 white ones and 6 black ones. You then get command dice, such as what you get in Dead Zone. These ones are exclusive to the Spartan edition. This side shows extra activations, which allow you to activate extra models one after the other, which I'll go through in the gameplay video. This is an extra movement. This is an extra dice. This is a special ability, depending on if it's Spartans or Elites. This one is an extra fight. And this one is an extra shoot. Next are the weapon cards, which you get 2 of and is equal to the weapon tokens. On one side you get the stats, and on the other side you get a little bit of information about what it is and stuff like that. There's only 2 weapons that isn't like this, and it is the gravity hammer because you get a close combat side and a range side. This is because you get an ability called lunge with it, which is basically you literally lunging forward and attacking. Same with the energy sword. A range side and a close combat side for lunging purposes. We then come on to the bigger cards. Firstly is basically reference card with the items and what they are. On the other side we have what the command dice mean and the actions you can do. Why there isn't 2 of these, 1 per player, I've got no idea, and there really should have been, but it is what it is, unfortunately. The next ones are the stat cards, which these first 4 you get 2 of, and you get these first 4 in the Recon and Spartan edition. Starting with the Spartan Brawler, with a Bulldog, as you can see down there. The Mark 7 with a MA40 assault rifle. You've then got the Svezda, I think that's how you pronounce it, with a MVK-78 commando rifle. You then get the Deadeye with the M329 DMR rifle. Kind of like a mini sniper, if you will. These ones are just in the Spartan edition for now, and you'll probably be able to buy them later on. So this first one is a Deadeye with a Stalker rifle. Next one is a Zvezda with a Cinder Shot. Next one is a Brawler with a Needler. And the next one is the Mark 7 with the Pulse Carbine. You then get the Spartan Special Order, which I think they should have 2 of each card. Snapshot, which, look on the command dice, you'll see what it is. Then it goes on to the Elites. Don't ask me to pronounce what the name is. I'm sure people can. They're all called Mercenary for some reason. This one has the Energy Sword. We then have the Needler. We then have next the Plasma Rifle. And next we have the Pulse Carbine. And then essentially the Elite Special Order, which is, in this case, Reinforcements Incoming. You then also have some background on the character, including the weapon, and also some artwork, which is a nice touch. It does feel a little bit like Dead Zone First Edition, where each model had a stat card. Unlike Dead Zone First Edition, you're not paying points, you've just got 4 models, that's it. Although, instead of having background and some flavour text on the back, I would have liked to see what maybe the keywords meant, so you won't have to keep flicking through the rulebook. But I don't know, that's just me, and I think a few other people would agree with that. Moving on to the models. These follow lots of from just the Recon and Spartan editions, and you get 2 red and 2 blue Zvezdas, 2 red and 2 blue Mark 7s, 2 red and 2 blue Brawlers, and 2 red and 2 blue Deadeyes. Before I go further, I will show you the detail. Just zoom in. The detail is quite well done, and it's quite sharp. Even though it is PVC plastic, it is hard PVC plastic. The detail on all places is quite nice, and for not even experienced painters, these will come up quite well. From far away shots, they don't look that good, but when you actually look at them, the detail is fantastic. The only thing that can be an issue are the bases. They can be slightly warped, such as this one. This has a slight lip on it, so will not sit exactly flush when you put it on flat ground. However, if you put it in warm water, or maybe cut it off and put it on a hard plastic base, it will do better. There has been no bend in the weapons, including the energy swords, which I'll go over soon, which is quite surprising. On to the models that you just get the Spartan edition for now, but I think they're all on pre-order. You get 2 red Cinder Shots and 2 blue Cinder Shots, 2 red and 2 blue Pulse Carbines, 2 red and 2 blue with Stalker Rifles, and 2 red and 2 blue with Needlers. You then get 4 Elites, 1 with Plasma Rifle, 1 with Pulse Carbine, 1 with a Needler, which is slightly bigger than the Spartan one, and one with energy sword. Going close for the detail of these, and like the Spartans, the detail is really good. The only thing I don't really like about the Elites is that the helmet teeth things are closed, which is a little bit different to the helmet I'm used to seeing, even though these were in Halo 3. And one thing about the energy sword is it's not got any bend on it because it's quite thick, although it does still look like a Halo energy sword. All the models look quite decent. Like I say, it's only really the bases that are a bit unfortunate, but really it's only a smidge unfortunate. People have been taking off the bases and putting them on similar sized ones. Personally, I'm probably going to leave them as is, although putting them on small ones, I think they're about 32mm, could be a good option in the future. However, and this could be something that Mantic are going to do again, there's one more model that you get if you buy the paints, special paint set, or if you pre-order it, which I don't think they're doing this time, but if you did pre-order it, you will get this. It is the Master Chief. Quite frankly, it's an iconic model and one that they were right to go for. It's a really nice looking model, and the stat card you can see behind, he's got really nice stats. If you're wondering why he's just got an energy sword, it's because looking through the trailers for the various Halo games and from a lot of Halo's lore and the like and videos, you will see Master Chief a lot with an energy sword. It's kind of iconic back in the day, and not so iconic now, but it's what a lot of people know him for. So there you are. Personally, I think it's a great game, and I've only had one game of it so far. Ideally, I was going to get it just to get people into Dead Zone, but, and I'll still do that, but this is a game that sets itself apart. Yes, it uses Dead Zone rules and a lot of the mechanics, but honestly, considering how the models and the Spartans and whatnot work and respawn and the like, it takes on enough of a different flavour that you could like both of them. If you come from Dead Zone thinking, I'm not really going to like this, you might be missing out. If you are new to wargaming, or not really much into it, it might be one to go into. If you're a board gamer, possibly. The Recon edition comes with the 4 Spartans that I show off first. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the 4 Spartans I show off first. 2 red and 2 blue ones. And some terrain bits and the paper mat. And the command dice, there's only 6, and they're blue and white rather than the special ones that I showed you. That's 60 quid, and to be honest, I think that's about spot on. You might not get many models, but considering what you do get and the price of things, I think it's fair for what it is. Plus, you don't have to build the models; they're all one piece. The Spartan edition is £100. It comes with essentially a bit over twice the amount of models and a fair bit more terrain. Like I say, you make a fantastic board up with what you get, and I'll have to do a video of how it plays at some point. This was what's inside and whatnot, but this is suppose a mini review as well. To be honest, it is a great game, like I say, and the price I think is spot on. They are doing a second print run because they were so surprised in how much traction this got. The second print is of the Recon and Spartan editions, so you can choose which you get. There's also you can also get the card terrain separate. Weirdly enough, you can't get the big tower thing in that set, which I don't know why. And you can also buy acrylic tokens. Only one player, so you can, if you want both players, you can have to buy two. So that's, I think, 25 quid, which you can buy all apart from the first 4 Spartans separate. You can't buy the elites yet, but give it time. You can buy the other Spartans separate, and they also brought out 2 more teams with 4 Spartans in each. One's just 4 Spartans with stat cards. One is 4 Spartans with stat cards and more weapon cards, and a book with points, so you don't have to play it this way. You can just, I'm assuming, get 4 Spartans and just give them any weapons and point them up that way. We shall have to see when that expansion comes out, but I would honestly give this a go if you're on the fence. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching.